trades for under a penny on Polygon. So we're already solving that as a layer 2 of Ethereum. And Ethereum, I think, will solve it as well. Ethereum is going to go through, ETH 2.0 with sharding and all the other pieces of that. And I think eventually it'll just be kind of either commoditized or kind of decommoditized. It'll be like sending an email. There won't be costs with DeFi in the future, I believe.
Okay, Leo, what do you think? What can we do to fix this high gas fee problem?
I mean, there's a lot of great teams working on scaling solutions already that you can use today. There are great networks where you can use DeFi for dollars, less than $1 per transaction. You just have to find them, and I use Avalanche and Polygon as an example. There's others out there. Another cost-saving place I see in DeFi is just the cost to run your project, right? You need very minimal infrastructure because the blockchain handles that. Your team is small, so you pass those savings to the user. You only take tiny fees, whereas you go to traditional brokerages, you use a mutual fund, they charge higher fees on their products.
Let me go back and ask you guys the same question I asked the audience in the beginning, which is whether or not you think traditional finance and centralized finance is going to either die or change in its current form in our lifetimes. Let's start with you, Rock, and we'll go down.
I mean, there's no doubt. I think everybody here probably sees that by now. It's just a matter of time. I don't think the banks are going to disappear necessarily. A lot of them will, the ones that are too slow to innovate. But I think many of the banks will just adopt. They'll just have to have a DeFi underpinning what they do. Some people want custody. Some people don't feel comfortable with a hardware wallet or seed phrases, and they'll probably always want to use a bank to custody their stuff. So why wouldn't Bank of America have a Bitcoin wallet built into it and DeFi integrations, etc.? It only makes sense. I mean, why would you? Right now, they're giving you 0.1% with realistically, inflation's probably around 20% or more, depending on how you look at it. Why wouldn't they have DeFi built in? On QuickSwap, you can stake your Quick and get a small portion of all the trading fees of the exchange. So you're basically a mini CZ from Binance. Everybody who owns Quick gets a little piece of all the trading fees instead of big teams getting it. I got nothing, I love Binance, but if we decentralize this, everybody gets a piece of the pie. We cut all the costs, we cut out the middlemen. It's just, obviously the entire world's gonna go this way.
Let me ask you this question, and anybody can answer. So why would a traditional bank disappear? When you think about it, everybody still pays for their everyday items and their life with fiat currency, right? So you need a traditional bank to hold your cash. Until we progress to a stage where everyone starts using cryptos or DeFi as a currency, we'll still need banks, right? Can you comment on that?
I mean, it's really a matter of like a POS system or just general point of sale system coming along that's mass adopted that accepts crypto, and convincing mass people to accept crypto as like a normal mode of transaction. I don't really see that as being so problematic or not going to happen within this next 10-year period. As people get more exposed to DeFi, they'll want to have access to DeFi in what better way than as a business owner than for someone to just pay you, and then you can deploy those assets into lending and borrowing platforms or staking them or whatnot.
We have our fourth panelist here. Welcome. Come on the stage.
There he is.
How's it going, man? Good. What's your name?
Jay. Hey guys, I'm JHL from Project Serum. Hey guys, I'm JHL from Project Serum.
Can we get another mic for JHL? We'll need one more mic for the stage, please. Okay, while they're prepping that, Leo, can you comment on Grant's comment in regards to DeFi being used and mass adoption of cryptocurrencies in our regular day lives? The question is, can we see a day when in America and all around the world, people start using blockchain as a currency?
Yeah, I think using crypto as a currency and just using DeFi, sometimes they can be separate, right? Because of the stable coins, tokens that are pegged to $1. And I think what's beautiful is that mass adoption to me looks like regular people using blockchains and DeFi without even knowing it, right? These apps, these mobile apps or online apps are going to be so the user experience is going to be so seamless and so familiar, like a Robinhood or a traditional bank, that it could be blockchain and DeFi on the back end, but you don't have to know that. You can get the same great APRs. You can swap tokens permissionlessly, but you feel like you're just using another banking app. I think that's what's going to get us there.
All right. Hey, Jay, you're new. You're the new kid on the block. Tell us a bit about yourself and the projects you're working on.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, like I said, I'm JHL from Project Serum. Project Serum is a decentralized exchange on the Solana blockchain. And one of the key features of Serum is that it's based on the central limit order book model.
Broad question, anybody can take it. I was just talking to Sam Beckman-Fried from FTX, and I asked him this question. I'll ask you guys as well. I said, what kind of projects would survive the next biggest crypto crash? The assumption is that cryptos come in cycles. You have ups, you have downs. The next time we have a big downturn, a lot of projects are going to get wiped out, but some of them are going to survive. And he told me that the ones that are going to survive are the ones that will reach critical adoption. A lot of people are going to adopt it. It's going to have a use case beyond just layer one, perhaps. So tell us in your mind what kinds of projects you think will stand the test of time. Anybody can take this question, and we'll go around.
I think projects with real sustainable revenue, like all the DEXs on this stage, are probably going to be the ones that survive. Stuff like, I hate to say, NFTs are great, but a lot of those will lose 99% of their value. People who've been through the crypto crashes, in our history in these bear and bull markets will know a lot of these things, the more speculative, the fun stuff, a lot of it will lose 99% of its value. But DEXs that have real revenue from trading volume, they have a business model that's working, a decentralized business model, but they've got sustainable revenue. So, and a lot of them have tokenomics that support the token price. For example, Quick, with our APY from the trading fees, it can only drop so much because the APY will go into the hundreds of percent if the trading volume at least keeps up.
And let's go around. So what kind of projects do you think are going to reach mass adoption? Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think an important aspect is to kind of embrace this regulation, this regulatory environment that's coming, right? That's why you see things like Aave Pro to kind of appeal to the institutional side, to have that KYC, and then they have the DeFi product as well, where we're going to be regulated in some form or fashion, and you can fight it or you can work with it. And I think the projects that work with it are not only going to survive, they're going to actually get users and investors that would like to participate but need that kind of assurance of a regulation of,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
I'll push back on that. I'll say there'll be a mixture of both. Sure. There'll definitely be some that try to play with the regulators, but there will be some that don't really need to because they're so decentralized. I mean, if the regulators came to QuickSwap and told me to shut it down as a co-founder, I don't have any control over it. The keys are released. I don't have any admin controls. There's nothing I can do. It's smart contract code running on the internet. Yeah. So, I mean, and there's going to be a lot of that, I think.
Hey, Jay, you probably get asked this all the time, but what's up with Solana these days? Is it going to kill Ethereum?
Sorry?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry.
Solana, you think it's going to kill Ethereum?
I don't know about kill Ethereum. I definitely think that there are segments of the crypto product space that Solana is well equipped to handle, and maybe it's the best one out there for that. And I think right now Ethereum is dominating in that regard, but Solana can give it a run for its money there.
So you think ETH 2.0 can fix some of the problems and make Ethereum more competitive? I think you want to respond. You guys can have.
Didn't Sam Bankman-Fried like yesterday or something say he thought Solana was going to kill Ethereum? That's a fucking bold statement. That's a fucking bold statement.
Yeah, I think there's going to be many blockchains in the future. I think Ethereum is definitely going to be one of them. In my opinion, Solana is as well. And yeah, I think ETH2 is super exciting, and they're doing really interesting things there that no other blockchain has done. And so it'll be interesting to see that play out. And also super excited to see the layer 2 scaling solutions on Ethereum.
Right.
We see like Optimism,
right.
Arbitrum, Starkware. I think these are super exciting as well. And I think there might even be things that Solana can learn from them too.
Hey, Grant, I got one last question for you, and then I'll open it up to the floor here. We talked about UX offline, you and I. So one of the big problems with DeFi, the DeFi whole space at large, is that a lot of people find the UX very user unfriendly. And to beat traditional finance, so to speak, you need to overcome that barrier. You need to build better infrastructure that people can adopt more easily. So how do we fix that problem?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, what I think we all want to do is build systems that enable everyone to easily access DeFi and easily access these crypto markets, and just sort of understand. And I've always felt that there's kind of a disconnect between builders and users, in that once you've been in the space for a long time, you sort of start to lose sight of like who you were when you initially started.
Right.
And that recognition that like not everyone is as technically savvy as all of us, and that there are going to be users out there that we want to bring into this world who are not going to easily pick up these things. So creating streamlined processes, like easy wallet onboarding or like seamless integration between like a bank for now, and your wallet is like really important. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it should feel like Venmo or PayPal or Robinhood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so when we look at systems like Ethereum that are where the gas is insane, and you try to convince someone who's never used like DeFi before that they need to spend. I went to send a transaction last night for $1, and it was like a $46 fee.
Right.
And I mean, it's absurd. And so as people come into Ethereum, which is of course the best gateway to get into DeFi initially, is it's where all the liquidity is, it's where the majority of projects are.
Right.
They'll start to see the inherent problems and gravitate towards other layer ones like Kadena, like Pangolin, excuse me.
Avalanche.
Yeah, like Avalanche, like QuickSwap.
Cool.
And on Serum.
I see the room's filling up. That's great. Usually it's a good sign that the room becomes bigger and more filled up towards the end of the presentation rather than the other way around. So I'm going to open up the floor to questions. Any questions about DeFi? I'll come down with the mic. Any questions about DeFi and protocols that you'd like to learn about, projects that you have questions about? Yes, sir.
You guys are talking about killing CeFi. Who's gonna fix the trilemma? Go.
You said the trilemma, right? You're talking about kind
Kadena.
of speed, cost, decentralization. I mean, that's an interesting problem that I think all chains are trying to solve, right? I mean, Ethereum was hit with that hard last year, and they've been working very hard on roll-up solutions and layer 2s. But I think some layer 1s are already doing a very good job at just starting with that, because Ethereum kind of showed them, hey, they did it this way and it didn't work. So there are alternate ways to do consensus, to do staking, to charge fees on transactions that I think are actually doing pretty well. I mean, what do you think on the Polygon side?
Yeah, I think it's a difficult computer science problem to solve, but we're making headway constantly with layer 2s on Ethereum and some of these other protocols. And Polygon is doing a good job at it. Vitalik was talking about Polygon on a Lex Friedman podcast, and he was saying, Polygon kind of did it a little bit fast and dirty, where maybe they have slightly less security than Ethereum-based chain, even though we use security from Ethereum-based chain, but that now we can improve upon it, and they're launching things like optimistic rollups chain. So when Matic went from Matic to Polygon, it's not just the Matic POS and Plasma chain. Now they're going to have optimistic rollups, ZK rollups, etc. So they're making progress on it.
I mean, Kadena effectively solves it. Kadena is the only truly theoretically infinitely scalable layer 1 proof of work system that actually, as it grows and more chains are added into the system, it becomes more secure. Gas is incredibly cheap, and as demand for block space goes up, more chains can always be added in. So what Kadena, the reason we're building on Kadena is because we feel very strongly that it does actually solve the trilemma.
Yeah, I think one interesting thing about Solana here is that as hardware capability scales in the real world, Solana also scales with that, and that enables a new level of scaling that I think not many other blockchains are looking at right now.
Yeah, old blockchains, the more users you added, the more it got bogged down. New blockchains, including like Lightning for Bitcoin, Solana, Polygon, a lot of these, they get stronger with scaling. That you have to build with the future in mind, and so that you can get stronger as you get more users, not weaker.
I got a question for you, actually. So, I got two questions. I'll ask the first one. Besides Bitcoin, which some would argue is a store of value, do you see any other altcoin or DeFi protocol or project that could potentially fill that role as well and serve as a store of value? Because ultimately, when we're talking about beating CeFi, we have to address this problem because that's what banks do the best, they store your wealth.
No.
All right. Comment on that.
Bitcoin is the ultimate store of value. It's the only real, sound, hard money we have. Ethereum is not. I love Ethereum. It's one of my biggest investments, but it's not Bitcoin, and it won't ever be
nothing
Bitcoin.
Will ever be,
nothing will ever be Bitcoin for the true hard money store of value with its sort of immaculate conception story and how it had a truly fair launch, the only truly fair launch there has ever been. Even over, we had QuickSwap, we raised no funds, we call it a fair launch, but we still took 3% of the supply, which is low, but Bitcoin took 0%. And Satoshi still never spent a single dollar. So, yeah, I say no.
Grant, you have a confused look on your face.
No, I'm not confused. I just have to say why. Like, what is truly being built on Bitcoin to actually give it the value it has? We know it's, of course, limited. There's 21 million Bitcoin.
You gotta put your mic closer to your...
There's 21 million Bitcoin. We know, that, yes, it has value, but ultimately there's nothing being built there. And other projects derive value from the value that they actually create and the product itself. And I just see Bitcoin, yes, as a valuable asset, but not this hyper God coin that it's sort of come into being.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with you in the sense that the Bitcoin network and the token itself, physically, it's not as valuable as in its properties as other tokens, but it does have this huge advantage in terms of market cap, in terms of adoption in the finance space. It's got funds and index funds and ETFs coming that a lot of tokens are going to take a while to catch up to, or they may never catch up because people are investing in Bitcoin without ever touching the Bitcoin. And even those systems, the Bitcoin does not move. It's just, centralized exchanges. So I think in that sense, it's going to remain the store of value for a while at least, yeah.
One other interesting thing I want to throw in here that someone mentioned to me a while back was that if you think about it, Bitcoin is always going to be the coin that, no matter which chain wins, it'll always be the coin that's easiest to transact and fastest to send, not because of the Bitcoin base layer, but because whichever chain wins in the future, it's almost guaranteed that there'll be a bridge from Bitcoin to that chain. And you can't really say the same about any other coin, I think.
Let me ask you this. We just had the Taproot upgrade for Bitcoin. Does Bitcoin need to be upgraded? Or can we just make a fork that solves a problem?
I think for now there's still some more tweaks and small things that need to happen with Bitcoin that the devs are really contemplating hard. I mean, Taproot was in research and development for many years before they released it. And it was a pretty unanimous consensus amongst the developers that it was a good thing. If it wasn't, if there was even a small amount of people saying it wasn't a good thing, we wouldn't have done it. I think Bitcoin can use some small upgrades like that through soft forks. But then after that, it'll, Andreas Antonopoulos says, it'll ossify. It'll solidify, and the base layer will not change anymore, and everything will be done on the layer 2 and 3. You could look at Ethereum as a layer 2 for Bitcoin. There's Wrap Bitcoin and Ren Bitcoin, and then you could look at Polygon, which is a layer 2 of Ethereum, as a layer 3 of Bitcoin. And so, like the protocol of the internet, certain layers will just stay solidified in the future, and then we'll just have to change things on the top. Even if the base layer might not be the most efficient, because it's the most adopted, and because it has it's the most important thing is that it won't change. Right. You don't want your money to change. You don't want to leave money in a will for 30 years and you're dead and some smart contract's going to leave it to your kids. You don't want it to change in that time. Other things can change. We could build and innovate, but Bitcoin should not change. It minus these small, debatable things that people all agree on.
I see the party scientist has entered the stage. Are we out of time?
That's right. Let's do some closing remarks.
All right. Maybe one last question from the audience and we'll close it up. One last question from the audience. Anybody? Yeah.
Hey, what's up? My name is Gus. I'm from Dallas. I don't really have a question. I just want to let y'all know that y'all really motivate me, and hopefully in a couple years, I'm teaching some people like y'all are teaching some people. So I just want to let y'all know I applaud y'all and keep doing y'all for real.
Woo! Thank you.
you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Thank you to our
Thank you.
panelists. I think that's it.
That's it.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. Jay, Grant, Leo, and Rock. Thank you so much, guys. Pleasure.